Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today, I want to talk about a topic that isn't discussed enough in energy healing, why someone might not be able to hold the energy work after a session. In other words, why a person might feel great during or immediately after a session, but later easily revert back to the old state they were in before they came in. It can feel like energy healing didn't take or wasn't able to fully integrate. This experience can be discouraging for both the client and practitioner. After all, the goal of energy healing is real, lasting transformation, greater alignment, clarity, expansion, and relief. But the truth is, not every session holds long term, and understanding why is a vital part of the healing journey. Tracking this without judgment is important. It helps client understand their role in the process, and it helps practitioners refine their work, recognize resistance or misalignment, and identify external factors that might be blocking integration. In this video, I'll share the most common reasons energy work doesn't hold. These are based on what I've learned in my own practice, as well as what I've learned from fellow practitioners over the years. If you've experienced this or have insights of your own, feel free to share them in the comments below. We're all here to learn from one another and support deeper, more effective healing for ourselves and for our clients. So let's get into this. Part one, client factors. Number one, they're not ready to truly change. I've made a couple of videos on this already, but at the end of the day, clients must also work on themselves outside of sessions. You can do extraordinary work during an appointment, but if the client goes back to the same patterns without self-reflection or accountability, they'll return to the same old emotional and energetic loops. It's okay to fall off the horse and restart your healing journey, but outsourcing healing to someone else without doing personal work will never create lasting change. For example, if someone stays in a toxic relationship or chronically overworks to the point of exhaustion and keeps repeating those patterns, their life won't shift no matter how much energy healing they receive. Number two, drug use. This is a complicated topic with many nuances because drugs range from recreational substances to plant medicine to clinical psychedelics. Some practitioners believe that any type of mind altering substance, even drugs we deem as harmless, like marijuana, can tear or weaken the energy structure. They may agitate the system, cause anxiety, or create contraction instead of the grounding and expansion that healing generally aims for. I know one practitioner says he can always tell when a client smoked marijuana between sessions because none of his previous work held. And when he asks if they did smoke, they usually confirm yes. At the same time, there are people who use plant medicine intentionally during a ceremony. They call guides, set a sacred container, and work with the spirit of the plant. In those contexts, the structure of the ceremony can provide some added protection from the effects of the plant medicine on the energy structure. Others may use ketamine or mushrooms in clinical settings for PTSD or trauma therapy. These settings usually don't involve ceremony or create any kind of energetic container for these sessions. In those cases, I would suggest receiving energy work after the treatment series to help repair any energetic disruption if the person calls to do so. I am agnostic on the subject. Underlying health issues aside, clearly drugs that can harm your body can also harm your energy structure. Other types of substances we call drugs that are labeled plant medicine, I don't have much of an opinion on. One thing I will say is that I did do a session on someone who had a plant medicine journey the week before, and their entire energy structure felt very fluid, like they were still in the in-between state. By the end of the session, we got his entire structure settled and grounded. Again, I have no opinion on what that means for him or people who do it. It was just a very interesting observation. Number three, doing too much energy work. If someone is seeing an acupuncturist, a Reiki practitioner, and a sound healer all in the same month, they're putting themselves into a place of energetic destabilization and not giving themselves enough time to process and restabilize their energy structure. The real integration happens after the session. You have to hit the new energetic baseline after a session before you go into another one. Consistently layering multimodalities without allowing resolution can interrupt the healing process. Each modality does something different, and the body needs time to adjust, anchor, and land in the new vibration or perspective. Number four, the ego, personality, or higher self is resisting the session. Essentially, either the personality or the higher self, even both, are resisting the energy work. This means that the energy work is not absorbing or it is being completely blocked. I've created an entire video on this topic about the reasons why, how you can tell, and what to do about it. I will link it in the description below. Part two, practitioner-related reasons. Number one, lack of structure in the session. A practitioner needs a clear beginning, middle, and end. They must set the stage, actively get the person's energy structure to respond to the work, guide the process, and then ground and anchor the person before closing. From personal experience, when learning new healing modalities, there can be more of an emphasis on learning how to actively do energy work and not really an emphasis or explanation of beginning or ending protocols or how to structure a session. Setting the container and anchoring the session are essential. They orient the practitioner and client, give direction, and help harmonize and ground the energy structure at the end of a session so the client can hold the new potential. Starting a session without a clear intention or ending without proper grounding can leave clients in an energetic in between, making it hard for them to hold the work. I have also created a two-part series on the importance of containers and how to create them. I will link that in the description below. Number two, inexperience or lack of confidence. If a modality is complex, it can take time for practitioners to become skillful and confident. Beginners may still be learning how to perform the modality, sense and interpret energy, track a client's energetic structure, and make the necessary adjustments, all while maintaining the container. We've all been there, and that's perfectly okay. Practice is what helps us grow, and we are always deeply grateful for the clients who allow us to learn and refine our skills. Number three, insufficient or low quality training. Make sure your practitioner is legitimate and has been trained through a reputable school. These days, you can learn almost anything on the internet. For example, there are Reiki and sound healing classes available on platforms like Udemy. While these can be helpful as supplements, they are not a replacement for live training. Whether it's virtual or in person, live teaching is essential because of how the teaching is transmitted. In a live class, a distinct informational transfer happens directly through the teacher's energy structure. The teacher holds the frequency and structural knowledge of the modality within their energetic field. And by being in their presence, students absorb that structure. A self-paced, pre-recorded course simply cannot replicate real-time auric transmission. This connection to the teacher's field, it becomes a tangible resource that practitioner can tap into later during their own work. Part three, external reasons. Number one, you might be dealing with an attachment. An attachment can be understood as an energetic parasite, but before your mind spirals into fear, this is not the kind of possession that you see in movies. It's much more subtle, but it can still really negatively affect your life. These energetic entities are more common than most people realize. I've encountered them in maybe a quarter of my clients. It's a real phenomenon and far more nuanced than Hollywood makes it appear. Attachments feed on emotions, both positive and negative. Signs may include becoming far more reactive or explosive than a situation calls for, recreating certain situations that might trigger intense emotions, or feeling unusually drained even when you're sleeping well, eating well, or taking care of yourself. If that happens, you might have an attachment, and that's a bigger topic all on its own. But it's worth mentioning here because it can absolutely interfere with how well your energy work is holding. I want to be incredibly clear. Having an attachment does not mean you're a bad person, and it doesn't mean you did anything to deserve it. Just like catching a physical cold doesn't mean you failed, an energetic attachment is simply a mechanical issue in your field that needs clearing. There is zero shame in it. Number two, negative thought forms or energetic imprints. Lastly, in a similar vein, you may also be dealing with a negative thought form that has attached to you. This is essentially negative energy, thoughts, or intentions that can disrupt your life or interfere with your healing process. Examples include curses, old vows, oaths from past lives, or even forms of black magic. While this isn't a primary focus in my own practice, it is a well documented phenomenon in more traditional cultures, such as Native American, Mexican, or African traditions. Just like an attachment, it's simply energetic static that got caught in your environment, and acknowledging it is just the first step to clearing the air. To conclude, energy work is a dynamic process. If your energy work isn't integrating the way that you expect, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It simply means something in your system or the practitioner's approach needs attention, support, or adjustment. Healing is rarely linear. It's a layered process of clearing, integrating, relearning, and repatterning. The more awareness you can bring to these factors, the more empowered you become in your own healing journey. When the right conditions are in place, internally, externally, and energetically, the work holds beautifully and can create profound and lasting change. If you found this helpful, feel free to share your experiences or questions below. And check the links in the description or on the screen for related videos to go deeper into any of the topics that we touched on today. And if you want to learn more about energy healing, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And don't forget to tune in, listen deeply, shift completely, and bloom. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.